What you are about to discover about Egypt has been documented, excavated, and systematically left out of every book you read in school. 9 secrets that entire civilizations tried to protect and that the desert preserved for you to discover today. If you made it this far, you are already different from most people, and what comes next will prove it. Like this video and subscribe to the channel so you never miss a single secret. Let's start with the most powerful woman the ancient world ever produced, and the truth nobody ever told you about her. Cleopatra was not Egyptian, she was Macedonian, a direct descendant of Ptolemy, one of Alexander the Great's generals. She was the first of her dynasty to learn the Egyptian language, and she mastered 9 languages in total, including Ethiopian, Arabic, and Hebrew. She did not conquer Caesar with beauty, she conquered him with strategy, arriving rolled inside a carpet delivered to his chamber to avoid being assassinated by her own siblings. Cleopatra ruled a kingdom of 8 million people, controlled the largest grain supply in the ancient world, and financed 2 of history's greatest military generals. Her death at 39 was not weakness, it was a calculated choice to avoid being paraded in chains through the streets of Rome as Octavian's trophy. With Cleopatra died not just a queen, but the last pharaoh and the last line of defense of Egyptian civilization against Rome. She was the last, and Egypt would never be the same again. But Cleopatra is only the beginning, because what the Sphinx hides within its foundations will leave every Egyptologist speechless. The official construction date of the Sphinx is 4,500 years ago, but independent geologists have discovered something that changes everything. The erosion patterns on the body of the Sphinx were not caused by sand and wind, they were caused by heavy and prolonged rainfall. And the last period in which Egypt received enough rain to create that kind of erosion was more than 7,000 years ago. This means the Sphinx may have been built by a civilization that existed before the Egypt we know. In 1991, geologist Robert Schoch presented this theory at the Geological Society of America. The silence from the audience of scientists said more than any answer could. And there is more. In 1987, Japanese researchers used ground-penetrating radar and discovered underground chambers beneath the Sphinx, chambers that have never been opened, that the Egyptian government has forbidden anyone to excavate, that exist and are right there, beneath our feet. But if the Sphinx is already unsettling, the pyramids will make you question everything you believe about human capability. The Great Pyramid contains 2,300,000 stone blocks, some weighing up to 80 tons each. To build it within the time frame Egyptologists calculate, one block would need to be placed every 2 minutes, 24 hours a day, for 20 years. The construction precision is even more disturbing. The faces of the pyramid are aligned with the 4 cardinal points with an error of just 0.03 of a degree. The geographic center of the Earth's entire landmass passes exactly through the center of the Great Pyramid. That is mathematically impossible as a coincidence. The ratio between the base perimeter and the height of the pyramid encodes the number pi with a precision that the Greeks would not formalize mathematically until 2,000 years later. And the 3 pyramids of Giza reproduce with millimetric precision the alignment of the 3 stars of Orion's belt as they appeared in the year 10,500 BC. Someone built these pyramids already knowing things we would not rediscover for millennia. And that brings us to the most documented curse in history. In November 1922, Howard Carter opened the tomb of Tutankhamun and spoke the most famous words in archaeology: "I see wonderful things." 6 months later, Lord Carnarvon, the expedition's financier, died of blood poisoning. The lights of Cairo went out at the exact moment of his death. In the following 10 years, 22 people who were present at the opening of the tomb died under unusual circumstances. Modern science found an answer: ancient fungal spores preserved inside the tomb, capable of causing fatal illness in people with compromised immune systems. But the oldest curse recorded in an Egyptian tomb says something different. It says, "Whoever disturbs the pharaoh's rest shall be visited by wings of fire."
Whether science or something we still do not understand, the Egyptians clearly wanted their dead to remain in peace. And it was to guarantee that peace that they created the most extraordinary manual for death any civilization has ever written. The Book of the Dead is not a book. It is a collection of 192 spells to guide the soul through the world of the dead. The deceased had to declare 42 sins they had not committed before 42 different gods, each one responsible for a specific moral aspect of human life. If the heart weighed more than the feather of truth, it was devoured by Amet, a creature with the head of a crocodile, the body of a leopard, and the hindquarters of a hippopotamus. And if the heart was pure, the deceased was led by Osiris to the field of reeds, the Egyptian paradise, where life continued without pain or death. What disturbs modern scholars is the moral sophistication of the system. It predates most ethical systems we know of by more than 2,000 years. The Egyptians did not fear death. They had a map for it, and that map was the greatest spiritual creation of ancient humanity. But while the Egyptians guided their dead, they also built entire cities that the sea swallowed without anyone knowing for centuries. Heracleion was the greatest port city of ancient Egypt. Every ship arriving in Egypt passed through it, and it completely disappeared for more than 1,000 years. In 2000, underwater archaeologist Frank Goddio found the city at just 6 meters depth in the Bay of Abu Qir in Egypt. What he found changed everything. Statues 6 meters tall, temples with intact inscriptions, ship anchors, jewelry, coins, and the stele that confirmed the city's name. The entire city is on the sea floor, preserved. Streets, temples, houses, the harbor, all of it 6 meters below the surface. Why did it sink? Earthquakes and liquefaction of the sandy soil caused the city's gradual collapse between the 3rd and 8th centuries AD. Heracleion is today the largest underwater archaeological site in the world, and less than 5% of it has been excavated. An entire city waiting to be rediscovered, like the preserved bodies the Egyptians created to last for eternity. The mummification process took 70 days and involved anatomical knowledge the Egyptians should not have possessed according to our historical narrative. The brain was removed through the nostrils using a bronze hook. The organs were extracted and preserved in separate canopic jars. The heart remained. It was needed for the final judgment. The body was dehydrated with natron, a natural desert salt, for 40 days, then wrapped in more than 200 meters of linen bandages soaked in resins. The result? Mummies that survived 3,500 years with hair, skin, and fingerprints completely intact. DNA analysis of Egyptian mummies has revealed diseases, diets, migration routes, and even the identity of royal families with a precision the Egyptians themselves could never have imagined.
And mummies of sacred animals, cats, ibises, crocodiles, bulls, were found in the millions, a level of religious devotion without parallel in human history. But what the Egyptians were hiding in the depths of the earth goes far beyond mummies. It goes beyond everything that has been officially mapped. Beneath Giza, there exists a network of tunnels and chambers that appears in historical documents written by Greek, Roman, and Arab writers, but which the Egyptian government does not allow anyone to excavate. Herodotus, the father of history, described an underground labyrinth with 3,000 chambers beneath Giza. He said it was more impressive than the pyramids themselves. In 2008, Belgian researchers used geophysical analysis at Hawara and confirmed the existence of extensive underground chambers exactly where Herodotus had described them. The Egyptian government suspended the excavations immediately. The data was published. The excavations were never resumed. In 1993, a robot sent to explore ventilation shafts inside the Great Pyramid
found a door with copper handles. That has never been opened. A door inside one of the most studied structures in the world, closed, with handles, and no one has opened it yet. And this is where we reach the boundary between archaeology and the question everyone thinks but few dare to say out loud. How did a civilization without iron wheels, without computers, and without modern cranes build structures that we, with all our technology, could barely replicate? The extraterrestrial theory is not a fringe theory. It is the answer that arises naturally when conventional explanations stop being sufficient. In Abydos, Egypt, there are hieroglyphs that depict flying objects, one that resembles a helicopter, another a submarine, another an airplane. Official Egyptologists explain them as overlapping hieroglyphs modified over time. Other researchers disagree with great force. What is impossible to deny is that the Egyptians depicted on their walls knowledge, astronomical, mathematical, medical, that they should not have possessed. The truth about Egypt may not be extraterrestrial, but it is certainly something we still do not understand, and that alone is extraordinary. Egypt is not a closed past, it is a mirror, and what it reflects about who we are has not yet been fully deciphered. If this video opened a door you can no longer close, like it now, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell, because the next secrets are even greater.